What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I'm coming at you from the Casey's in Osceola, Iowa. Got out here over 24 hours early for this appointment. I was thinking about trying to go out there and drop it off early, but you know, it's kind of one of those places where if you get all the way out there and they say they can't take you to the appointment time, that's a big commitment making that drive back. There's another smaller places out there that I might be able to park at, but might isn't going to solve my problems right now. We're going to kind of actually talk about that. They do have overnight parking at the receiver, so we're going to get into that a little bit. But what I wanted to talk about in this video, you know, I always have people asking questions, or I'll see it in Facebook posts, is do I have any tips for new drivers that are just getting out of TNT, or people prepared to get out of TNT driving? And this could be any company, Swift, CR England, whatever. I thought about it a lot. I've mentioned it before, but if there is one thing or one bit of advice I could give anybody in this business, it is to master your logs. Your logs is where your money's at. If you look back to the old days, why were all these drivers running 2 and 3 logbooks, stuff like that? Because the money you make is based on the hours that you have. And the more that you understand your logs, not that I'm condoning you play in that gray area, but the more you know about logs, the more subtle it will make those times when you have to play in those gray areas, because you know how, you basically know how to, I'm not going to say beat the system, because that's not the point, but you know how to kind of dabble in those gray areas a little bit. But the reason I'm making this video is I saw somebody post a question on the Prime Inc. PSD TNT trainers group. I forget the exact name of it. I'm an administrator in that group, but and I don't know the exact name, but it was a question that to me at this point seems so basic that it was I don't know, it was just so basic that I felt I had to speak on it, because we're not going to get into the exact question, and I'm not even going to even get into how to operate your logs, because it's hard for me to speak on logs. But one thing I will tell you is, the first thing is, if you're going to have a question about operating your logs, or you have a question about how to do something and it revolves around your logs, that's not a question to post in a Facebook group. That's a question to pose to your logs advisor. Listen, logs advisors are there for you. They're not just there to catch you doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's basically free advice. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, you know, you have all these people out here paying for this prepaid legal and all this kind of stuff. You know what? Use the free service that's out there and develop a good relationship with your logs advisor. Trust me, it will come in handy. You know, when I first got out here, and I guess the reason I'm circle back around, the reason that I'm kind of speaking on this is I wasn't always as good at logs as I am right now. And the way I got good at my logs was I took that logs class probably a total of 4 times. I took it, and I'm gonna call it Logs Class Light in Salt Lake City when I was just going through training. I took it when I was maybe I took it 3 times, but when I was upgrading, I took it as part of their mandatory logs class, and then I went back and took it again, and then I developed a good relationship with my logs advisor. So those first, let's say, couple months when I was out there, look at how dirty that guy's shirt is. I mean, that's criminal. I mean, seriously, if you're gonna be rocking like that, you gotta be wearing the black. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no, look at that.
Maybe he's flatbed, man.
Well, I don't give a fuck what he is. He needs a different color choice right there. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, my logs advisor, you know, helped me through specific, you know, questions that I had. Like, okay, well, I'm thinking I'm out of hours, or I won't be able to deliver this load, run the scenario by her. She pulls up her computer and she's like, well, look, you know, you have all these hours that are remaining on your drive clock and your 14-hour clock. If you just shut down now for, you know, 6 or 7 hours or 4 hours, whatever it was, you know, that's going to stop your clock. And, you know, she just go through it all. And I did that a few times, and then I started understanding how to run my logs. And I'm telling you, that is where your money's at. Another thing it's going to do is keep you from doing stuff that you don't want to do. Shout out to all the people that like sleeping at shippers and receivers. I do as well if I can't find a place to park this close. But if you really understand your logs, there's really not much of a reason to stay at a shipper receiver. They say, you know what, if you stay there at the receiver and you get a door or whatever in the morning, then you can just creep up to the, you know, up to your dock, and then you're going to start the day with a full clock. Well, to me, I'd rather start 20 miles away at a truck stop that has an actual restroom, actual amenities, all that kind of stuff, and then burn the 20 minutes on my clock, go there, sit in a door in 2 hours, pause my clock, and then really I'm only 20 or 30 minutes behind on my day. You know what I'm saying? So understanding your logs allows you to do things like that. Understanding your logs allows you to realize, just the other day, me and my co-driver driving, we're coming out of California, and I told him, you know what, just run your clock out till you have like 30 minutes left on your clock. I'm in the back, I can't go to sleep because I've already slept. And he stops to get fuel. I know that I've been in sleeper berth for a long time. Come up front, look at my logs. I'm like, hey man, let's just switch now. I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep, so I might as well start driving now. Somebody that didn't understand their logs might have sat back there for 3 more hours until their 10-hour break, you know, their vanilla break was over, and still not being able to sleep, and then end up having to drive 3 hours longer at the end of their shift. So if I remember my logs, I didn't get my full 14-hour back because I'd only driven a little bit before that. But I had 11 hours on my drive clock, I had 11 hours on my drive clock, or somewhere close to that, and then I had maybe 11 hours and 37 minutes on my 14-hour clock. So I was basically going to be able to drive out a full drive shift regardless. So, you know, it's just little stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's understanding what the DOT inspectors are looking for when they pull you over. Things that, you know, for example, you know, my co-driver's been in sleeper berth status for quite a long time. We're not going to deliver this till tomorrow. A lot of people wouldn't even think to go ahead and put him off duty just to break up the clock, because as soon as the DOT inspector sees that you're in the sleeper berth for 30 something hours, that's gonna, you know, they know that you haven't been in there. Another thing that I'll do is I'll over-notate everything. Every time I stop, I'm trying to put something in the comments. If I'm stopping for fuel, if I'm stopping for, you know, if I'm stopping to use the restroom, coffee, shower, whatever, I'm going to type that stuff in there. And every now and then I'll throw in a little Easter egg for them. I might just put P, you know, something like that, just in case, you know, somebody has a sense of humor looking at my logs. But I even had, actually, I was talking to my co-driver. He didn't even know. And he's going through training, which is what this is about. But I was like telling him how 30-minute breaks work. You know, you can split it up between fueling and off duty as long as that's 30 minutes. Then I was like, you know what, and if you're the shipper receiver and you're in yard move, that's going to count towards it too. Now, he didn't know that, but I know there's a lot of like drivers that don't, you know, that just got out of TNT that may not know that as well. So I'm going to encourage everybody that's a new driver, regardless of what company you're at, to master your logs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, understanding how your logs work keep you, you see all these guys, and sometimes it's going to happen. I have never stopped on the side of the highway, and I have never parked in a spot that wasn't an actual place where you could park your truck. Now, I've sat in the cut. Now, that's a different story. You know what I'm saying? But understanding your logs allows you to be like, okay, well, you know what? All right, I just picked up this load. It's 3 o'clock. It's 3 p.m. You know what? Let me drive this out till like 6 tonight. Hit the sleeper for like 4 or 5 hours. Then get back out on the road again. My 14-hour clock has been paused. I can resume my driving. One thing we just did last night was I realized that, there's not a lot of parking around where we're at. And I realized if I just started to drive right after his shift was over, that when we were coming off the road, there wasn't going to be any parking available. Now, I didn't have to split my log, but this could be a situation when you would. So if I'm coming off the road and I'm like, okay, when I'm driving, I'm going to be coming off the road at 3 a.m., really not the best time to look for parking. So what I might do is say, okay, if 3 a.m. is the time that I'd be coming off the road after putting in a 10-hour drive shift, you know what, let me just drive 3 hours, shut down, let a few hours go by, and then get back out on the road to where that will put me off the road at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., provided the load's not that time sensitive. But I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do rather than just saying, because I can tell in the comments, or, some of the posts I see, and these are even from some seasoned drivers. Well, I started my clock today because this and that. Now I'm burning up my 14-hour clock. No, you're not. Not if you split that log, you know what I'm saying? So learning the clock not only keeps you from looking stupid, but it can actually put you in driving situations that you want to be in. I kind of clown about people being solar powered truckers and driving during the daytime and all that kind of stuff. Learning how to split your clocks will allow you to flip-flop your driving schedule if that need be, and stay on a similar driving schedule in terms of the hours burned as you would have had either way. In the wintertime, I'm not, as much as I talk about solar powered truckers in the winter, I do try to flip my schedule to drive more during the daytime. Understanding my logs allows me to do that. So I don't wake up in the day and be like, okay, well, if I go on duty, because you'll see people say that. I saw another post where somebody was saying, and it's really irrelevant, well, should you do your first vehicle inspection of the day on duty or off duty? It really doesn't matter. And then somebody that didn't know anything about logs says, well, if you started off duty or on duty and you find something wrong with your truck, now you're burning up all this time. Well, you know what? If it's burning up that much time would be over 2 hours. And then that's when your split can start occurring. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times when I would rather start my first vehicle inspection of the day either on duty or off duty, but it's not always a vanilla, the beginning one is off duty and the end one is on duty, or vice versa, or whatever it is. So develop a good relationship with your logs advisor, and this goes with everybody that's on your team. Fleet manager, road assist. Now, I really haven't developed that great a relationship with road assist because I haven't had any problems with it. But fleet manager, logs, and payroll. And I was sitting here with my co-driver yesterday, and I called up payroll. And when I called up, all I had to do was say a little bit of joke. And what did she say? When I said, "You need my truck number?" Nope, didn't need my truck number. She knows who I am. So everybody that's saying, with these larger companies or these mega carriers, all you are is a number. You are what you put yourself as. None of these people that I call up are going to they're never going to need my truck number. I may give it to them, but they won't need it because my relationship has been built over these last 3 years, beginning in TNT training. As a matter of fact, send an update to James about your TNT progress. And the reason I'm asking him to send messages updating our fleet manager about his progress in TNT is because when it's time for his 30,000 miles to be up, I don't want him to be looked at as a random driver. I want him to be looked at as, oh, here's somebody that's been updating me, everything's been going fine, all this kind of stuff. And even beyond that, and that, you know, it may or may not help in that situation, but beyond that, when he becomes part of that fleet, he's already been putting in work to build that relationship with his fleet manager. So anyway, again, if somebody said, Lyle, you're coming back out with all that you, well, not all I know, but if I had to go back out as a green pea rookie again, and they said you could come back and be an expert backer, you could like be the best driver, you could do whatever, I would say that the one thing that I find most important with all that is logs. Logs is what makes driving, it's what puts driving on my terms, and it's what allows, and this is company, lease, whatever you are, owner, operator, it's what allows you to have the hours to make the money. Whether that money is a percentage or that money is by the mile. Anyway, hope I didn't ramble on too much. I think I did. But, like I said, develop that relationship with your logs advisor. Trust me on that. Anyway, and I do got the best logs advisor out there. I mean, I don't know all the rest of them, but I don't see how they could be better. Been at Prime like 20-something years. And I'm always joking with her every time I come into the terminal. I will always, every single time I come in, if I know that she's on duty, I'm gonna walk back to my logs advisor and I'm gonna say something. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be, you know, is the cover up worse than the crime? Or I've been out here riding dirty, what's up? You know, just something, you know, just a little joke to kind of, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a part of doing business. And everybody tries to overcomplicate this trucking industry, talking about, you know, it's business. Trucking really ain't business. But one thing I will tell you is business is building relationships. So anyway, enough of that rambling on. I want to thank you for stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. As always, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.